because I don't know how I would feel if it was my child or my niece or my sister. I'm sure that I would be distraught and felt helpless and scared just as much as they were.
And we are about to watch the parole hearing for this prince, this Ohio man who was having a relationship with a little girl in Connecticut. You see, now after this was going on for months and the family had the FBI investigate it and for them to actually catch him and lock him up, well, the judge gave him probation for these charges. What's the big deal? He's obviously a nice young man. He obviously didn't mean any harm by it. So we'll give him probation. And what did he do? He violated his probation. The poor guy. So he actually has to serve some prison time. Now he's up for parole. Now he gives a long opening statement that really you just want to I don't know, fall asleep through. So I'll leave a timestamp down below if you just want to skip it. And with that, let's jump in.
Good morning. My name is Mark Barrientos, 421195.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Mark Barrientos, inmate number 421195. He is serving a sentence of 3.5 years flat for violation of probation for the underlying offense of risk of injury to a child. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of July 5th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender is participating in a sex treatment program with expected completion date of October 15, 2024. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low to moderate range. Mr. Barrientos, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning, ladies. Before 4 years ago, my life was pretty hectic. I didn't really have any views or idea of where I wanted to go in my life. I started attending AA, and all I knew is that I wanted to get to the end of my probation. It wasn't until I started attending AA meetings in 2021 when I started to realize that life could be more than just sliding by and getting by. I met a group of individuals that taught me how I could properly live sober. Now I know that I still made the conscious and sober decision to make to let my ankle monitor die when I made sure that my phone was always charged. I do admit that I made some bad decisions that put myself back in prison, and for that I take full responsibility. When my probation was violated, I made every excuse to myself. I blamed everything but myself, when all I had to do was charge my monitor for 1 hour a day. Because of this, I robbed my kids of their father. I robbed myself to continue to be a father to my children, especially during the ages when they need me the most. Before I became incarcerated, my mother's health declined with having a number of strokes. Then again, having more while I was incarcerated, robbing my mother of the time she could have had with her son in what may be her final years. Over the last 18 months, I have done a lot of thinking of everyone that was affected by my actions over the past 10 years. Once again, my children, my family, my parents, siblings, all my loved ones that I had before I did what I did. Most importantly, my victim. I take complete responsibility for my actions. I have thought about the consequences and repercussions of what I did, not only short-term, but long-term effects it would have had on them, especially when I have seen it firsthand from abuse victims, along with myself. There is nothing I could ever say or do that could ever make what I've done right. But I know what I could do is spend the rest of my life trying to become a positive individual in society. I have plans to receive help from the American Job Center in Waterbury to attend the CCAR training in Hartford in hopes of maybe becoming a recovery coach. I could also help veterans with PTSD, along with all sorts of other help needed to help their life and living more capable and comfortable. I could also help other inmates reintegrate back into society. One of my goals is that I would like to reach is that I would someday start my own construction company, remodeling homes for disabled and for disabled veterans. If I were granted parole, I would continue therapy with my mental health treatment with the VA in West Haven, as I was before I was incarcerated. I would continue attending AA meetings a few days a week, if not daily. The AA meetings I attended, I had a tight group of individuals who helped me stay sober and held me accountable. I have a good support system in Connecticut. Even though my family is in Ohio, I will continue to work on myself with my sponsor in AA in hopes that I can have sponsees as well. One thing that I will do different this time is I will be open and honest with the individuals in my support team about the stipulations of my parole if granted on what I can and cannot do. Again, there is nothing that I can do to make it right, the mental harm I caused to my victim. But I am truly and sincerely extremely sorry. I hope that one day she may find it in her heart to forgive me. I hope that God will find it in his heart to have mercy on my soul when that time comes. I will accept and respect the decisions of the board makes on my behalf today. I'm already in here. There really isn't anything I can do that will change that besides plead with you in hopes that in getting a second chance. I do know that individuals can change. I am not the same man I was 2 years ago. I definitely am not the same man I was 10 years ago. I just want my chance to prove that to you, to my family, to my children, to my friends, to my loved ones. I want my chance to prove to myself and the rest of the world that my charge from 10 years ago does not define the man I am today. The violations of probation are not who I am as a man. They are mistakes that I have made, mistakes that I can overcome, mistakes that I can take full and complete responsibility for. What I did cannot be taken back or erased. But again, I have a lifetime and to try and prove that I am not the man anymore. Right now, my children are spread out in several homes because of my actions. My youngest are living with their maternal grandparents in Ohio because their mother lost custody and I was in no way capable of taking care of them. My oldest daughter lives with her mother in Missouri. Her brother, my oldest son, is living with my brother in Ohio because on the day he turned 14, he asked me if he could live with me, and I had to tell him I was coming back to prison. I know that if I was granted parole, it wouldn't fix these problems, but I'm hoping that I would be able to become more of a positive father in their life again. Because one of my biggest fears is that one of my children will end up in here like I am. I may be the one living inside these walls, but the answer that will be granted will affect more than just myself. That is something that I have come to realize during the last 18 months. before I told myself that I was the only one in prison, I was the only one locked up, that their lives went on and mine had stopped. But the truth is that nothing that I have done the past 10 years has only affected myself. It has affected so many more. I was just the one being selfish and foolish of thinking of that and myself. I have learned a lot more about myself and about being an adult, a parent, and a man the past 18 months than I have in 40 years. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak on my behalf today, and I will take the decision like a man, no matter the outcome. I hope that my family and the loved ones will forgive me one day for putting them through this. I hope that my victim will one day forgive me, and that God will forgive me when that time comes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrientos, for that, for your opening statement. I appreciate your taking the time to write down your thoughts. I wanted to stop you a few times because while I can appreciate all the things that you aspire to accomplish when you're out in the community, I really don't think that you have done the work that you need to do while you're in there. And I understand that you know, everything that your children have gone through and what you've put the victims through and, you know, all the losses that you've suffered since you've been there. Being a direct reflection of the poor decisions that you have made can be difficult to handle. We're not looking for you to be perfect when you're out here in the community. We're looking for you to be a law-abiding citizen. And the lengths that you are going through to try to avoid probation will absolutely not be tolerated on parole. So the court gave you a flat sentence this time because you violated your probation. I count four times. 1, 2, 3. You had an undocumented smartphone. Okay. Anyway, I know that you're in the sex offender treatment program. And I also know that you didn't complete it when you were out in the community. Have you completed it in there before?
No, I was never granted the chance to take it, ma'am.
Okay. So you haven't completed it. And also, how about a tier program?
No.
You've never completed a tier program there either.
I was never given the chance to, ma'am.
Okay. Well, it's probably because your sentences weren't very long. I see you were incarcerated for 13 months. Yeah. So for me, your drug score is a 5. You have an underlying sex offense. You didn't complete it out in the community. I wouldn't feel comfortable today giving you that opportunity without your at least completing the programs. You need help, sir. You need to take advantage of the help that you have while you're in there. Because if you plan on doing the same things that you were doing out in the community under parole supervision, you're going to find yourself right back there. And you have enough time this time to really work on yourself. And I would encourage you to do that.
When I came in, I've been sober for 9 years. So when I told them that, they never gave me the chance to do a tier program. I was in line in McDougal, this incarceration. I was actually supposed to start it in January, but right before it started, I got moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the prior times that I was incarcerated, I was again in line to take it. And by the time I was released, I was never able to take it.
Well, this time you're going to have to take it.
I'm in it right now, ma'am.
So no, I mean the sex offenders. I'm talking about a tier program. So your drug score is a 5, and you're talking about going out and helping people recover in CTAR. and you have to help yourself. I mean, why else was your device dying? You weren't out there doing anything.
I chose not to take the time to charge it every day.
That's crazy. You in a sober mind, you made a decision not to. I thought that I read somewhere that you tested positive for something or other.
No, ma'am.
I'm looking it up. Okay. So my position here today, nonetheless, is that you need the treatment, and I can't support you until your treatment is completed. Ms. Turner, do you have questions? No. Thank you. Ms. Palmieri? No. Okay. Thank you. Give me a few minutes to, I just want to look up the VOP. Does anyone have it printed? I swore that I saw that.
I mean, he minimized with, referring to it as just the GPS, but he was not saying it as approved residence as well. And he was in a relationship,
With
new
someone who
relationship.
had a kid. Okay. So, when do you guys want? He's serving a flat sentence, so I would have him come back.
When I
What are your thoughts? We're give us a few minutes, okay, Mr. Barrientos, we're going to discuss your case.
May.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Ms. Palmer? May sounds reasonable. Okay. At least that way he'll have time to get into a tier and
But then they'll have finished secrets.
so May of 2025. Voices, tier,
The track one that he's in until
problem
October.
sexual behavior, no DRs, which he got 2. We didn't even talk about those. And any other positive programs. And the reasons for denial are inadequate evidence of offender change, lack of program participation.
And I have an inadequate release plan.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like him to come back with a solid release plan.
Well, he's being, I mean, I can add that he needs a release plan, but that's not we're not letting him go. So to say that I can put it in like the summary that he needs to work on, that he needs to come back with a viable release plan. But the reason for denial, I will just put the lack of programs and then put evidence of offender change, if that's okay. Thank you. Mr. Barrientos, you were going to say?
When I received my OAP, it never said anything about a tier program. I was never given the opportunity to give it.
I have a tier. It says tier on
I'm
your,
opening it up right now. From April of this year.
yeah, I have tier 2, so it's on there. Okay.
Because when
Maybe-
I got here, I never received that. I got here and they wanted me to do this program and voices.
You
And I just
signed it
wait.
on April 3rd of 2024. It has addiction services #1, educational referral, job, vocational referral, and voices.
Yeah, I start AA on Thursday. That's what the addiction services, that's what they told me.
Well, AA will be positive for you, but you need a tier program, so you have a drug score of 5.
We'll put that in our decision, so you have to complete that prior to coming back, okay? So with regard to Mark Barrientos 421195, I move that he be denied parole today based on his inadequate program participation and evidence of offender change. I further move that he be reheard in May of 2025, at which time he should have successfully completed a tier program to be determined by the Department of Corrections. The problem sex behavior treatment that he's in right now, that's slated to end in October. The Voices program, and also establish an adequate release plan and receive no additional disciplinary infractions. Any other positive programs that you can get into would be
Fatherhood.
Yeah, anything would be beneficial for you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Barrientos, you'll get all of this in writing shortly, okay? So what will happen is we'll try to make sure that we get word to addiction services that we'd like you to participate in a program, and hopefully, and let them know what your rehear date is. And hopefully when you're done with that program that you're in, you can get any others. Okay? Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Mark.
We're not going to have to wait because here he is. We have his parole hearing thanks to Lady Holly and Sir Richard's spreadsheet and hard work. Can you imagine this guy was given a gift of probation and he just couldn't charge his little thingy-mabobble? Anyways, I just am disgusted by this, but don't worry. He's right. He's a low risk. He's a low risk to reoffend. So let's go. Let's jump in. Let's see if he gives another long speech on it.
Mr. Barentes, give us 1 second, okay?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Mark Barrientos, 421195.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Mark Barentes, number 421195. He is serving a sentence of 3.5 years flat for violation of terms of his probation with a risk of injury to a minor underlying. He's also serving 10 years on the sex offender registration. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of June 3rd, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan. It has been reviewed. It shows the offender has completed a fast track sex treatment program since the last hearing and is currently participating in Tier 4 with a completion date of July 30th, 2025. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls with low to moderate range. Mr. Barrientos, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'd like to believe that I deserve parole because since June of 2024, I have remained ticket free in Carl Robinson. Some of the groups that I have accomplished here at Carl Robinson was at the sexual behavior treatment therapy group, Voices, and both of those I have learned numerous things since while I was in the program. Those programs. I am in the Tier 4 time program as of right now. I am an elder in the community. Also, I am head of the arts committee. As an elder in the community, I have the privilege of as an elder in the community, I have the privilege of helping others guide them through the program as long as completing it myself. I've learned a lot of things in the program since being in the program. To be completely honest, the reason I joined the program was because it was on my OAD, and I was like, I just got to knock it out. But since joining the program, I learned that I needed to be in this program a long time ago because of the way I was thinking was flawed.
Programs really fun. Tier 4. Oh.
I learned to identify my distorted thinking, learning the little things in life also matter. I attend AA and NA groups frequently. I also have the privilege of help chair a AA step meeting. One of the things that I do now due to this program is I openly admit that to myself, to my support team, that when I was home, I was lying to my support team about the stipulations of my parole. So that way I could do whatever I wanted. And the thing that I know that's going to be different this time is that I have every opportunity and every reason to want a parole officer to have contact with my support team and let them know themselves, as long as me letting them know that these are the stipulations within my parole. And not that I need a babysitter, but I myself feel that I still deserve to be held accountable for my actions, whether if my thoughts are distorted or not. And if you know, if somebody can inform me that, hey, listen, like, that's not a good decision, then that's something that I need. And one of the things that I did have out in the world was I did have a good support team, even though I was lying. And that was one of the things that we did do is we did tell each other, like, hold each other accountable for our actions and our thoughts. When I get out, I will continue to go to AA frequently in the Torrington area that I was going to before. I will continue to do the steps and continue to work on myself with my sponsor. I have been talking with Eric from Ch0m0, who's been helping me understand recovery and the importance of staying clean. I have a friend, Matt and Randy, who works in Torrington Ch0m0 also. He's part of my recovery team who plans on helping me find housing in a sober house upon release, whether if it's on parole or when I get out. I plan on utilizing the American Job Center in Waterbury. I have someone who works there who said upon my release that she can help me find some work. I plan to, in the future, I have a goal to start my own construction company to work with veteran organizations to help remodel homes for disabled veterans. I have been reading on how to create a successful business plan. I have books about that, and another one on how to start an LLC successfully. I plan on continuing my therapy with mental health with the VA again upon my release. I have continued to work with Ms. K here at Carl Robinson frequently with my mental health. But to be completely honest, like, the thing that's going to be different for me is, if I could speak from the heart, I'm tired. And I just want to live a simple life that I robbed myself and I robbed my family and friends and my kids of. And I like who I am today. I'm sober, I'm clean, and before I came to jail, my sister had came to visit here in Connecticut with me, and she had told me that she was jealous because she never got to know this part of who I was. And I'm hoping that when I get out, I can show my family and friends that this is who I really am today, and that this is who I should have been all along. And I completely take ownership of my actions in my case, in my charge. And I know that with, the no victim contact, but I know that if I had a chance to apologize and explain that I understand of the harm the harm that I did to this girl and the impact that it could have on her life later on, as well as then. Because one of the things that I learned in Voices was that side of the crime, of the side of the victim, because I don't know how I would feel if it was my child or my niece or my sister. I'm sure that I would be distraught and felt helpless and scared just as much as they were. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Barentes, did I pronounce that properly?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a rehearing for you. You were before the panel in July 2024. So we have all that information and it'll be the same process. We'll ask you some questions and then we'll deliberate and give you our answer at the end.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Chance will begin with the questions this afternoon.
Mr. Barrientos, is that how you pronounce?
Barrientos, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I reviewed the last panel's concern, and part of the concern that they had was the fact that you violated your 3 previous failed community releases because you did not adhere to probation or parole.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know why you didn't before?
To be honest, because when I got out, I was still trying to do what I wanted. I didn't have anybody, I didn't really have a support team. When I started going to AA in Torrington and I met those group of guys, that's who became my support team. And I went to AA frequently. I had a home group that I went to weekly. I actually went to AA there at least 4 times a week in Litchfield and Torrington, Waterbury.
Okay, so let's start first. Let's start with violating your probation by having contact with minors. So let's address that first.
I
What was
violated
going on?
my probation for having contact with minors.
Yeah, 3 times violated this term of probation, 3 times by having contact with minors.
Can you be more specific?
Failing to register and failing to properly charge your electronic monitoring device that you have.
Okay, so the monitoring device was the last charge and the failure to register. Yes, I got that when I came to prison. I do not recall having contact with minors.
Okay, that's because you were trying to delete your browsing history from your approved electronic device. That's how they found that out.
On my computer. And that was in 2018 and that was never brought to my attention that I had any, and I wasn't had any contact with minors. I was on Facebook and I had a computer and that's why they violated me.
Well, that is what was discussed at your last hearing. So I just want to know for now, going forward, do you know the condition of the program?
Do I know the conditions of my parole? I know the conditions of what most likely that I would be held to, and I know that I can do that. I know I can hold myself to them, yes.
So you completed the program
Yes.
last November.
Yes.
What's your takeaway? What did the program teach you?
The program taught me my triggers, which my number 1 trigger is the internet. I when I was on the internet, I could be whoever I wanted to be. I could mask whoever I wanted to be. And that's exactly what I did.
What about coping skills?
So my coping skills is that I know that like I have a lot of talent with music and art. I can always, that I have been starting to draw again, which I fell back in love with. I know that like since I came to Connecticut, I fell in love with hiking here, which I did frequently when I was out. I'll continue to do that. Again, I could, I still plan to see a therapist. I still, like I said, I still plan to keep in contact with my support team. And I know that whatever the stipulation is that I need to have, I'll do it. If I have a device that needs Covenant Eyes or this program, I can do that.
And you just previously chose not to because you didn't want to?
Previously, like I said, I was still trying to do what I wanted to do and get away with it because I thought I could.
And it took you 3 tries?
This last time, I was still trying. In my head, I was minimalizing a lot of the things that I was doing wrong by saying, well, I'm doing all this stuff that's right. So all this little stuff shouldn't really matter by letting my ankle monitor die. And I knew I was letting my ankle monitor die, even though when my probation officer had violated me, I blamed it on my ankle monitor died. And, it's not such a big deal because, it's this magnet, but yet I always make sure my cell phone was charged. And I realized that, it wasn't an excuse. If I had to sit for an hour to make sure that my ankle monitor was charged, I should have sat for an hour.
Right. What
1
about
hour.
the program, the sex offender program? Did you attend
I attended
programs in the community?
I attended every one every week.
You're sure about that?
Yeah, because every time that I had to go see my probation officer, it was the same day.
How long did you participate in the treatment?
In the treatment, it was from 2020 to 2022. No, 2020 to 2021, the end of 2021. When they violated me, they had me stop doing the program.
But you were previously participating?
Every week. And I was in the final phase.
So you're going to have to do that.
Yes, I understand.
And then tier 4.
Yes, ma'am.
You find that helpful. You have a very high drug score, so.
I find it extremely helpful. When I came into the program, I fell in love with the program. It was structure that I needed, since that is this exact same structure that I had when I was in the military. And when I came to the program and I seen that, I was like, I wish I'd have came here a long time ago. And the things that I do learn is things
You said
that
it was similar to what program you were in the military?
it was just similar to the structure in the military. The structure of this program is similar to the structure of the military for me. But like the things that I learned in these phase groups is things that I learned in therapy before, and they're helping me just relearn and resharpen the tools that I already have been given to me that I wasn't using before. That I not even wasn't using, but just forgot I even had.
So the other thing that they asked you to do is to complete a viable release plan. And you started out with your release plan. You talked about your construction company to assist veterans, and that you're gonna continue with mental health therapy and substance abuse with CGAR. But what
Yes.
else? What else is on your release plan that you haven't said yet?
That I would see on my release plan.
Yeah, you remember they asked you to do one.
Yeah, in the sex therapy program, the sex treatment program, sexual behavior, I did one. I was going to continue going to AA. I was continue going to therapy. I was going to do this. My goal with the veterans, I was going to do the CCAR. I do not recall what else I put on there.
Do you have that release plan? Did you write all that down? Because they asked you so that you could present it here.
I did not bring it with me. I apologize.
Okay. So where do you intend to live and where are you going? Because all of that should be on your.
Yes. I know that as of right now, I don't have an address, so I plan on going to a halfway house. I do have a friend, Matt Morandi, and he, like I said, he works with CCAR, and he told me that upon my release, that he can help me find housing in a sober house. And then I do have other friends in AA in the Litchfield area that have also told me that they can help me find housing once I'm in a halfway house.
Is CCAR going to help you with a sponsor?
I already have a sponsor out in the world, and I stay in contact with him. When I talk to Eric here with CCAR, I just, we pretty much talk about like recovery based stuff. Like last time I talked to him, he asked me what recovery meant to me, and we talked about that and all the things that I'm recovering from, of the things that I've lost due to my my alcoholism and my addiction.
I want to go back and ask you something, because you said something about when you were previously in the program in the community that you were in phase 2.
Yes, ma'am.
But do you remember how long you were in phase 2? How do you think you were doing?
I thought that I was doing pretty good in the program because I showed up every week and I participated, and a lot of the times it was just open discussions, and I always did my homework and my journals, and I was never late. So I mean, as far as I knew, I was doing pretty good.
Well, you know, my understanding is that the phase 2 can last a very long time,
Yeah, phase 2 is, they said it could take almost a year sometimes.
more than a year sometimes.
Yeah.
So it all depends on you. And based on some of the things that you were doing by not following, you know, the rules of parole or probation, tells me that maybe you were not doing so well as you thought you were.
I can understand that.
Okay. All right, well, I'm concerned that you didn't have the release plan. They thought it was very important for you to do that because it would demonstrate then that all the things that you were not doing before would have been included in there. And yes, you did mention some of it. So I hope that you pay special attention to make sure you do have that release plan.
I do have it in my locker and back at the dorm, and I will pay special attention to that, I can assure you.
All right, well, thank you for answering my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. So, Mr. Barrientos, you've taken this sex offender treatment program a few times. You in the facility, in the community. What have you found that's different this time? What's new to you?
Well, I took it a couple times in the community. This is actually the first time I took it since I've been incarcerated. I've been incarcerated. This is my 3rd incarceration, and this is the first time I actually got to the program. And honestly, I can say I learned a lot because we dug into so one of the things that I can always remember was the pig. And it basically talks about this pit that we allow ourselves to get into based off of the steps that we took to get into this pit. And once we're in this pit, how hard it is to get out of it. And we learned about basically learning our awareness of where we are in this diagram of this pit. When it comes to like I said, the distorted thinking and relapse, just the thought of doing something, and I'm sorry I'm talking with my hands, but the thought of doing something is a relapse itself, whether or not you have done it yet or not. And that's one of the most important things to me is if it crosses my mind, the first thing that I should do is tell somebody in my support team who knows this is what I'm struggling with. So that way they can help me, they can refer me, they can, we can discuss where the thought came from and what is it going to do for me to stop having these thoughts, and is it the cell phone, is it a computer, is it whatever, a movie, and another thing that I learned in this program is we watched I watched a movie in this program that showed the view from the outside of somebody who committed a sexual offense. and what it looks like as this person comes home from prison and is trying to stay on the straight and narrow, and the struggles that they have. And I never really realized that I was struggling as bad as I was, because I always minimalized my crime. I didn't touch her. I didn't do this. But in all realization, what I did was just as harmful, or if not more, because now I'm dealing with someone's mental state for the rest of their life because of my poor choices and me taking advantage of this person.
Okay. So through completing the program recently, have you identified different triggers than what you saw in the community? Like going out this time, right? When you're back in the community, what would you identify as triggers for yourself?
Electronics
Okay.
is my number one trigger. Having access to the internet is a huge trigger for me, because that's so when I see it as people who, like I said, I used to minimalize. I didn't do this and I didn't do that because mine wasn't physical. So when I used to see sexual crimes as physical, there were men who were prowling on these women or girls in person, but yet I was doing it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a trigger for me.
Would you categorize pornography as also a trigger for yourself?
Absolutely, extremely, a huge trigger for me. I started watching pornography at a very young age, and it became an addiction as well. And it absolutely is a huge trigger.
And when you were in treatment in the community, you said, I was listening, and you said, I went to every group, I was on time, I did my journaling, you did homework. In reflecting back on that time, do you think you were benefiting at all from treatment?
I was, but at the same time, again, I was minimalizing. I was learning, but I wasn't doing.
Okay.
I was learning that these are the things that someone in my situation, the triggers and everything that I deal with. But yeah, when I was outside of treatment, I would still watch pornography.
So what is your plan to address those triggers in the community?
My number one plan is my support system. I know that, like, some people may think that it's not going to help because what if your support system isn't there? But there were a number of us. There was 12 of us who just hung out every day, and we were all clean and sober. And yet we weren't perfect. But that was one of the things that we did, is we held each other accountable of the things that we weren't perfect with. And at the same time, I was lying to them about the things that I was allowed and wasn't allowed to do. But this time I have every and I know that when I get out, they hand me a piece of paper that says, these are the stipulations of your parole. These are the stipulations of your probation. I plan on showing them I plan on giving my parole officer their numbers. These are their cell phone numbers. So if you need to call them, ask questions, if you need to meet with them, you have my absolutely full permission to do so.
Well, this time, because you've had a few different violations of probation, you have no probation to follow this sentence, right? So you had 42 months. I have a rough end of sentence date of February 2026. So if you were granted discretionary parole, it's not a long time on supervision by standards for these offenses. So I was interested to see, how you were going to manage the triggers, because with everything, at some point you're off supervision. You still have the registry to comply with, which you had difficulty complying with also.
Yes. So one of the things is that if, like I said, if they know the stipulations of my parole and they know what I struggle with, and they know that these are the things that it's going to take to help me be a model citizen, that they'll hold me accountable even after my parole ends. Like, hey, listen, like this is what got you into this. This is what got you in jail in the first place. Like, do you really want to go back? Even though you're off parole, like you can still go back to jail. And I expect that they're going to hold me accountable, every single one of them will.
And do you see alcohol and drugs as being contributing factors?
Well, with that, I've been sober for a very long time. I've been sober for 9 years, almost 10 years. When I came to jail, none of them were for dirty urines or anything.
Right.
From what I was informed, was the reason why my drug score was a 5 was because I was unassessed. And that's fine, because it got me in this program, which I'm glad it did. Because like I said, if it's for my addiction, I have more than one addiction. I had a sexual addiction. I had a pornography addiction. I had an addiction to negative thinking. I had addiction to doing what I wanted. And I have, and the difference is that this program is helping me like learn that those are distorted thoughts. And I'm glad that I'm in this program, whether if it's the score was wrong or not, like it got me in this program, and I'm happy that it did.
It does appear that you benefited from both programs. We have a summary of your treatment at the facility, and the counselor noted that in their view, you had exceptional insight and understanding into your own problem sexual behavior. Right? And then it's just listening to you talk about the Tier 4 program, it does appear that you are vested in the program and what you can learn and take away from it. We appreciate that. I did have some notes about your release plan, as you talked about with Ms. Chance. You identified the halfway house and a sober house as release options. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, as of now, I don't have an address. Like I said, I would like to go to a halfway house, and then upon there, once I get there, I can get an address to a sober house. Or if before I can get released, if I can get a room in a sober house, and I can get that address to the parole board, to the parole officer, and I can get approved for that, I would be grateful. But my plan is to go to a halfway house or a sober house. Yes.
Okay. And I have a note also that you've already made contact with the VA for services.
Yes, I had written them maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay.
So
Hey, Mr. Barrientos, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you,
Rodriguez?
Madam Chair. Yeah, Mr. Barrientos, I'm concerned, you have a flat sentence, technology is everywhere today, absolutely everywhere. And you're saying that's one of your major triggers.
Yes, sir.
How are you, what's your plan on,
So.
I mean, you're not gonna have a cell phone, you're not gonna have a,
I mean, so as of right now, my plan is to start with a flip phone. And easy as it goes, a flip phone, because all I really do need for a phone is to call somebody. And if I need anything more than that, at some point, there's programs. I've used them before. There's a program called Covenant Eyes that I know I started using 15 years ago. And I know that for a fact that it records every single stroke of the key, everything that you open on a phone, every text message that you send out, every text message that comes in, every single thing that you do on an app, it records everything. It records screenshots. And so I know that there's programs that are there for accountability that if it ever comes to me using technology, I'm absolutely 100% okay with having those on these devices.
I think it's gonna be pretty challenging, I think. I mean, I'm glad that you've taken the programming that you've taken and, I think you have major challenges. Anyway, listen, thank you for hearing me out. Good luck to you.
Thank you. And if I can say, it will be a challenge. And yet I've at the same time, I've dealt with my alcoholism and my addiction for a long time. And that is a challenge itself as well, every day, even with 9 years sober. In the community, in prison, it's everywhere, just as well as technology is. And I know that if I can beat the odds of addiction, whether if it's alcoholism or drugs, I know that I can continue to beat the odds with this as well. I never put them together. I separated them. I have all these addictions, but I never really worked on them together. And my plan
You
is,
need to have a really good super plan for yourself on the outside. A strong plan.
and I do,
That your support team, your other mechanisms you're gonna need to be able to kind of, watch yourself.
yes, sir.
I don't have any questions.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. All right. So we'll deliberate about your case now. Ms. Chance?
Yeah, so this is a rehear test variant test, and the last asked him to complete the sex offender treatment program tier 4 and develop a viable release plan. So the one thing he hasn't physically has is viable release plan, but I did go over some stuff with him. So in terms of the sex offender treatment program, he's indicated today that he was able to identify his triggers as, electronics, being on the internet, pornography, and knows that he has, a sexual addiction. When he talked about his previous participation in the sex offender program in the community, I think it was a little misleading because he said he was in phase 2, but my understanding of phase 2 is, number one, it can take up to a couple of years, maybe 3 years to get done. Just because you're attending the phase one program and you go in there doesn't necessarily mean that you have grasped what the phase one part of the program is. But he wasn't able to get to the phase two because he violated probation. He talked about the fact that, you know, he was minimizing, you know, based on the wrong things that he was doing and thought it was okay to lie because he's doing what he's supposed to do by going to the treatment program. He also talked about the Tier 4 program, where he said it was able to give him the structure that he needed, which was similar to the structure that he had in the military. So hopefully that piece of it will help him to develop the structure from the sex offender program when he's back in the community, and to really follow the structure of, you know, parole, discretionary parole, if he's granted today. He did say that he's been sober for 9 years. He asked about his release plan, where he wants to start his own construction company to assist veterans. He has made contact with the VA. He's going to continue with his mental health therapy at the VA. He's going to connect with CCAR to continue with his substance abuse and AA connection. And one of the questions that was asked about the support system was that, and I didn't understand when he said maybe you do a flip phone. I meant to ask him what.
Flip phone.
Flip phone.
There's no internet.
Yeah.
So there's no internet. So that's a good thing. And I hope that, you know, what he says today, that he's going to follow through and do that. He appears or sound to have benefited from the Tier 4 program, that he can also apply to the sex offender program and his behavior in the community.
Agreed.
So, based on that, it's a flat sentence. I would like to see Mr. Barrientos go out and get some supervision under parole to give him a start. If he doesn't do it by next February, all that happened, he's gonna come back, so it's up to him.
Great.
So,
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez?
I agree with my colleague. I believe he needs supervision as well. I think it's going to be a real challenge for him on the outside. I think sending him out without some sort of supervision, it's not going to be a good thing. And maybe that will help him. I find it's a little flat today. He's a little flat today. In his presentation, but seems like there's a lot on his mind. You know, I agree. I think I would support his discretion. It's just an opportunity to have some sort of guidance on the outside before his time is up.
Right. I agree with both my colleagues, and I would also agree that supervision would be beneficial. I do think at this stage, Mr. Barrientos has earned the supervision. He's done really well in his programs. He has no disciplinary report since the last hearing. He was able to articulate, I thought, very well what he's learned from all the programs. And I agree with Ms. Chance that the Tier 4 and the sex offender treatment program seem to have, he's been able to sort of meld the two together to help him overall in the community. So I do think that he's in a place now where he is suitable to go out to discretionary parole. For me, though, I'd like to see him finish tier 4, so we could do contingent upon completion of tier 4.
That's a must.
Yeah, so we'll use today's date. If he finishes it earlier than the projected date, then he's all set to go. For conditions, I had no alcohol, halfway house, as I just stated, contingent upon completion of tier 4. Problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without parole officer's permission, no pornography, and no computer access.
And that's it.
Yes, oh, and I had, first hearing, no contact, general no contact with the victim, CH. So, in the matter of Mark Barrientos, 421195, there's a motion to grant parole on or after May 2nd, 2025, with the following stipulations. No alcohol, halfway house placement, contingent upon completion of tier 4, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission, no pornography, and no computer access, and general no contact with the victim that was identified as CH. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. All right, Mr. Barrientos, we were able to grant discretionary parole today. We do want you to finish tier 4, so whenever that happens, you'll be eligible to go out.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck to you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
This concludes.
And I am happy to share with you that as of August 11, 2025, he is still in prison. So he hasn't completed his programs yet. And I guess that means that he's going to end up getting his full term. And let's just keep in mind, I mean, of course, this guy is so super manipulative. I mean, some of you might say, well, maybe he had some insight. He talked about his, but keep in mind, he was a 31-year-old man who was chatting with a 15-year-old girl. And this was going on for multiple years. He's in Ohio. He probably built this in. A 31-year-old arrested April 20th after a months-long investigation for allegedly inappropriate relationship. I love what they call that relationship with a 15-year-old girl. It's not a relationship. Stop using those words. Police said that Mark HB with illegal grooming, not inappropriate relationship. But I guess they feel they can't do that because he hasn't been convicted, right? Police said that Mark Barrientos of Ohio had an inappropriate conversation and sent inappropriate photos on social media to the teen. Now, they say that they were investigating this. In the other article, thank you, Sir Richard. They were, in the other article, it says that they had begun investigating it. Police said they had begun the investigation since late 2014. Okay. Late 2014 is when they begun the investigation. And as you can see here, it was April 2016 that they made the arrest. So this poor family knew that he was doing this, and they watched it for almost 2 years. I don't understand that. They said that it wasn't the FBI, it was a detective in Connecticut that set up a fake account and messaged this guy on Facebook. And they gave him probation, and he violates his probation. And here's the thing that I just never can understand about this stuff. Here you can see, I'll never understand this. Here is a breakdown of like the sense. So you have here, which is the arrest date, April 20th, 2016, 420, right? Risk of injury to a child, sentenced to 10 years, suspended, probation 5. He ends up violating that, right? Sentenced to 10 years on this one, suspended after 18 months, probation 52. That was, I don't know what that was, other sentence was for, but he also is sentenced, unless each violation, I don't know, but as you can see, the math never adds up. He has 10 years, fully suspended, then he violates probation. Then he gets 10 years suspended after 18 months. Then he gets 8 years suspended after 1 year probation, 3 years. And he violates how many times? It's a little confusing, but I don't know if he violated each time. But the bottom line is that he only then gets a 3-year sentence. So the court gives him 10, 20, 28 years, and they say, "Don't, sir, if you violate, you're gonna have to serve the time." And then he violates over and over and over again and still gets a maximum of 3 years. I can never understand that. What is the point of suspending a sentence if when that person violates and you don't serve that sentence? And this is something I love to call out. Now, maybe I just don't understand. I don't have a PhD. My brain's not so big. I don't understand that when they say that you're getting a suspended sentence, it actually just doesn't mean it. Like, really, what is going on? It's crazy. It's like they gaslight all of us with the sentencing. And you see it, every type of offender all over the place. And it's a joke. It's just a lot. It's like a joke. It's the strangest thing. So I think he's going to end up serving his. I mean, his full term date is 2/12/20. No, that was a different. Parentis. Let me just double check. I'll pull it up in the system here. We have a system. Pull it up. Let's see. Let's see what is his full term date. He's still at Robinson. His full term date is 2/12/2026. So I guess as soon as he finishes his program, whenever it will be, he'll get out, you know? But you can just imagine being a 31-year-old man and doing whatever it is. Like, and that means that if she was 15 when they caught her, she was 13 when it started. I mean, what was that? This man is just the worst of the worst. I mean, no, he's like all those other ones that we see on all these predator poacher stuff and Chris Hansen stuff, and he's just a predator, an absolute predator. And I think he also has really bad taste in ink, but that's a different subject. And with that, I'll let you go.